Okay, so now we're talking about public funding of arenas. So now the Utah, whatever they are going to be, are going to, they're going to be using public funding for renovations and stuff of that nature. And I have to ask Ryan Smith this question. Why? Why are you asking, the fans that, to pay more in taxes whose games they're not even going to attend most of the year? Most people only attend, like one NHL game or one baseball game every year or like one sporting event on average. And you want them to fund the other 80, the other 41 games for the Utah whatevers and the 41 games for the Utah Jazz. You know, I mean that is a bit disappointing. Now, I think it's about 300 million. Don't quote me on that, but I think that, Gary Bettman needs to come in and make something as part of the NHL Constitution or or some constitutional amendment, if you will, and saying you cannot use public dollars to fund projects. And I think this would be a good turning point for all leagues too, because we're gonna go to the games, mostly. We will go to the games, but one game a year, you're going to, and on mostly, but most people will go to, but it's I don't think it's fair to the taxpayers to fund their projects when they have the money to do it, and go to a bank if you really want to do this and get the loan, and you'll make that back too. You're worth at least $1 billion, and I still do not understand why why any owner of a sports organization would ask the taxpayers to fund his bills. Not to be rude or anything, but pay your own bills, Ryan. I'm sorry, because you should be funding this on your own without them. And if you want to sell off the Jazz or sell off Real Salt Lake, the MLS team, to fund it, the renovations, okay, someone will certainly want to buy one of those two franchises, and so what? You're one less short of a franchise now. What do you expect too? You could also, I don't know where the Utah-based hockey team is playing right now. The one for the university, specifically, if they're at the Delta Center or not. But they could come in, they could pay for that, and they could also use some of that as a training rink as well too. For a practice rink, because okay, probably not a practice rink, but they should have like their own. I suppose the high schoolers can go play on that rink as well for their state championship, and they could do that. You could have the college team play a couple games there, and they could pay you as well to help fund renovations. There's many ways you can do this without funding, getting taxpayers to fund this, and I think that Gary Bettman needs to put something in there. I would give him so much praise if he made some sort of constitutional amendment, once again, to say no taxpayer dollars, to fund this organization. We're worth billions of dollars. We're worth about as much as the video game industry, and the video game companies aren't propped up by taxpayers. Some of them aren't. Nintendo and Sony, they're not even in American companies, and it wouldn't make sense for taxpayers to fund American private companies. It doesn't make sense, too. So it shouldn't be the same, for taxpayers to fund entertainment. They'll fund their own thing. They'll buy their own tickets. They'll buy their own merch. They'll do they'll do that, and you know, and they don't even have a name at this point. Still, I did, for Utah, so that'll cover Utah. I did want to talk in my last video of Hartford is that they would have had to they would have used taxpayer dollars to fund their facility and update the Excel Center, or just build a new one. And I'm like, still no. So that's part of the reason why I did not mention Hartford. Also, it was too small of a city, and it wasn't the biggest city in the state of Connecticut. So I think it was like maybe the third largest city, and it didn't make sense to put him there out of everything. But yeah, and here's another thing too with funding potential cities. Okay, so the NBA arena and the NHL teams, NBA teams, and NHL teams, they play in the same building. Most of them, Boston, New York, the Rangers, the Islanders, and the Nets used to play in the same facility. The Lakers play it there. Golden State, if they really wanted to, they could go to San Jose and they could play there. Seattle's going to get an NBA team and they're going to play there. Dallas, the Mavericks, and the Stars play there at the same facility, and it doesn't make any sense. So you can have both owners fund these projects too, for both. So yeah. Let me know what you thought of this video. I definitely would love to hear back from you all. Please consider subscribing. And with that being said, take care.